I'm just headed out my driveway. Going on a run tonight. Whew, it's a little chilly, 25 degrees. Whew, I can see my breath. Better start running before I freeze. I used to be so scared to, I gotta wait for traffic. I used to be so scared to run at, like the thought of going outside at 25 degrees and running. It's like, I'm gonna freeze. But eventually you get used to it. I've gotten used to it and it doesn't bother me. I warm up. Anyway, I thought I'd record a video. I'm gonna rant a little bit. There's some things that have been on my mind and that I've been thinking about. It's gonna get dark soon, so I'm gonna be running in the dark. Some deer. Anyway, this is gonna be a rant about politics. This has been on my mind for a while, and I'm just kind of frustrated about some things that I've been thinking about, and so I thought I'd talk about it tonight on my run. But it is a beautiful night though. The moon's out. Got the mountains, the view of the mountains. So, politics. First of all, if you were to look up the date of this video, I'm filming this in mid-January, January 21st, I believe. And if you were to look up what's happening politically right now, it's crazy. You know, a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the last few weeks. And, apparently Joe Biden is the president officially, according to some. Now, the point of this video is I've been thinking about politics a lot because of everything that's happening. And I've been thinking about why do we always, there's always these trends of what people are talking about, right? Whether it's pop culture, celebrities, politics, whatever's the newest thing that's going on, the latest and the loudest is what people talk about usually. So I've seen my friends and everybody I know become completely obsessed with politics over the last few weeks. And they're all talking about it, discussing about it. And I've just kind of been watching from the sidelines and observing it. And the more I've seen it happen, the more ridiculous it started to seem to me. It's like, why is everybody always just focused on the latest and the loudest? I find myself sucked into that sometimes. But it seems like nobody has their own mission in life, including myself. Like, I'm pissed at myself because I'm thinking, wait, what is my mission in life? What is my purpose? That never made sense to me growing up. Like, it never made sense when people said, find your purpose. I always felt like that's not for me. I don't know what my purpose is. I'm not allowed to have my purpose. That's arrogant or something. And so whatever was the latest and the loudest became my purpose. I used to be very interested in politics. And it's just like everyone else. Like, whatever is the newest, coolest, greatest thing, that becomes your mission. That becomes your purpose if you don't intentionally choose what your purpose is. And unfortunately, most people never have a purpose. They never have a direction in life that they want to go, like things they want to make it. Everybody wants to make an impact or like help people, but very few people do that because they're too focused on politics and pop culture and whatever. Or I'm trying to find my train of thought. Oh yes, so for example, in the past couple weeks, I've worked on my taxes. This is the first year that I've gotten my taxes done early, and they're all ready to file this year for 2020. You know, it's crazy because in the past I was always so worried about taxes and I didn't get them done on time, and it was just not a good situation. But I've been staying very consistent with running, and I'm running multiple times a week. I'm still doing it, and I've been discouraged recently, but I'm still doing it. And that is because I have not worried about politics. I have not been focused on what everybody else is focused on. I've realized that it's a distraction. It's trivial and it's bullshit. I'm not trying to say that I'm above it or it doesn't affect me, because politics do matter in the world. On a macro level, politics affect things, but on a micro level, for me, for an individual person, politics does nothing. It won't change anything in your life. So why are you so focused on it? For me, why am I so focused on politics when it's like it doesn't affect my life at all? Like I'm not saying. Anyway, it really doesn't. You can't argue against that. That for you personally, it doesn't give you a good ROI, return on investment, to be focused on politics. The best ROI for you personally is going to be focusing on your life and your purpose and your mission. Now you might think, well, I don't know my purpose and my mission. Exactly. That's because you've been focused on politics. You've been focused on distractions. It doesn't matter what it is, just external things. Anything external that doesn't move you towards your mission is a distraction. So the whole reason that I have worked on my purpose and my mission recently is because I haven't worried about politics. I've stayed consistent with running. I've done my taxes on time. And that seems trivial. Like, who cares about politics, right? Because you're supposed to care about politics. You're supposed to care about the coolest new thing. But it's the little things that matter. If you're faithful in the little things, you can be faithful in the big things. So a little thing is, for example, taxes. That's something that most people ignore. You always do it at the last minute. It ends up being a big deal because it stresses you out, because you didn't do it, because you were too busy focused on external things instead of focused on organizing and prioritizing your life. And taxes is a big deal, but it's something that nobody wants to talk about. Like, if you're in a group of people, you're never going to start talking about taxes and, oh, I use this software and that software, and I use this accountant and that accountant, and this is how. And I always get, like, very rarely are you going to hear a group of teenagers or kids or anybody talking about taxes, because it's something that is there's no ego, there's no fame, there's no reward, there's no status and popularity in doing your taxes. But there is a lot of status and popularity in knowing about politics and saying, I'm right and you're wrong, and this is so real, and I gotta convince my friends, and everybody else is wrong but me. First of all, the chances of you being right in your political views is so small, it's ridiculous. There's 300 million people in the US, What's the chance that out of all those millions of people that your view is correct? It's not. You're most likely wrong. That's the first thing. Second thing, even if you're right, what's it gonna do? What's it gonna change to tell people to share, this valuable information about the government and its conspiracy and they're hiding things and the election was fake and Trump didn't really lose and Biden, all these, it's just conspiracies and it's just an external thing that your brain has locked onto because of the lack of focus in your own personal life. I don't care what side you're on. I have my own political views, but I'm beginning to realize that it's all a game. It's just history repeating itself. Every election cycle, it's the same bullshit. The losing side is freaking out and saying it's fake and not fair. In 2016, it was the left that freaked out. And now in 2020, it's the right that's freaked out. Look, if you're in politics and you're worrying about it, you're wasting your freaking time. It's total bullshit. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's fine. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not trying to judge. But okay, so this is where it is. I'm trying to make a distinction. It's fine if you don't want a purpose in life, if you don't care, and you're fine. Maybe it's your relaxation time and your hobby, fine. But it depends on your priorities. If you have priorities of doing good in life, having a purpose and a mission, then that's when it's a waste of time. And the only way you're ever going to find your purpose is if you quit focusing on it. And again, I'm not trying to pick on politics because it can be anything external that's distracting us, but politics is just what happens to be popular right now. So everybody's focused on it. All my conservative friends that called out the left last election and said, oh, look at those leftist Antifa bitching and complaining about the election and rioting and protesting. Now, all the conservatives are rioting and protesting and bitching and complaining about the election. Nobody is right. Nobody's above. There is no right and wrong when it comes to politics. It's just two opposing views that balance each other out. There's a time for both. There's a time when you need conservative values and there's a time when you need liberal values. I mean, I tend to be more conservative, but that's besides the point. The point is, it's just history. It's just cycles and history repeating itself, and there's nothing special about it. And that's just what I've been processing. Anyway, look at this view. It's beautiful. It's getting dark, and I need a light. So, I'm gonna get my light. But it's just a gorgeous view of the city tonight. And I gotta show you my knife. Check this out. In case any bears attack me. Oh yeah. And I'm in rural Montana, a lot of dangerous wildlife and rocky terrain. And it's weird. It's so cold. It's in the it's cold. It's like 20 degrees, 25 degrees. But I'm warm. My hands are chilly, but just keeping up this running pace is keeping me totally warm. It's just beautiful. And see, this is what life is about. It's about getting out alone, by yourself, experiencing nature, talking to God. And for me, I've had to learn to focus on internal things more. Like, what does that even mean? It means not caring about other people, what they think of you, and not putting so much focus on their opinions and their ideas and external things, and more about what is my purpose, my vision. And which that includes, for me right now, it includes running, doing physical exercise. I have to do that. I have to force myself to do it. And no, I would much rather stay home and look at Steven Crowder on YouTube and the latest political issues. But I've got to focus on what I want to do. This is, by the way, like I've done around 120 runs this year. And this is my second video that I've filmed. I've had to come out here so many times when it's dark, when it's cold, at the worst times, because I kept procrastinating. Today I wanted to go earlier. I wanted to go running when it was bright and sunny outside today. Beautiful day. But I procrastinated. But I still have to go. I can't, there's no excuses, so I still went tonight. Even though it's freaking cold and dark. And that's what I have to focus on if I want to move forward in life. And I have to ignore all the external things that everybody's caring about right now. I don't care about. And I mean that. Like it's useless to me thinking about politics. You know what? You know what would give, if I really wanted to affect political change, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I do that. Because, like, first of all, I don't care about it, so I feel like I can take a more objective view. I'm just gonna give my ideas and thoughts about how would I affect political change if I wanted to. Like, let's say I'm like, you know what, this matters to me. This president is wrong. These policies are wrong. I need to make a difference. Let's say I did that. I decided to do that. How would I do that? Well, I can tell you what wouldn't help it is going on Facebook and arguing with people and texting my friends who have different views than me and complaining and talking about it and thinking it's so real. First of all, you're not going to affect anything by arguing. And you might, let's say you convince one person, that doesn't do anything on a political scale. If you want to affect change, you have to convince thousands. So all the time you're spending on Facebook or with your friends talking about politics, it's all a waste. You're wasting your time. Sorry to make that judgment. Not saying it's wrong and you shouldn't do that, but it's just a waste of time if you're trying to affect political change. For me, let's say I wanted to affect political change. Here's what I would do. I would go on a run consistently, just like I've been doing, and I would record videos of myself, post them on my YouTube channel. Nobody would see them for the first 5 to 10 years. After a couple of years, maybe not 10 years, maybe 3 years, I would start to build a following. I'd be consistent uploading videos on YouTube, and I would share my ideas. And eventually I'd gain a political following. I'd gain a social status and authority. People would respect what I had to say. And maybe in 10 years, and then I would apply for an office. And then in like 20 years, when I'm 40 years old, 50 years old, that's when I could affect real political change. I could become president if I wanted to. I could be elected to office, or I could, influence people with my social media. That's how I would affect political change. But everybody is not doing that. They're just bitching and complaining and whining, and they're scared and they're fearful, and they think it's so real. If you're afraid of something, like you're afraid of the president, you're afraid of the outcome of the election, you're afraid of what's going to happen, which, by the way, so many people are. You have no ability to affect it if you're afraid. So that's just what's been on my mind lately. I think about these things. Man, if I really want to affect something, I have to do what the opposite of everybody else does. And it goes for anything in life. If you want to be different, if you want to affect change, you got to do the opposite of what everybody else does. There's like people, I do a lot of things different. And I still get distracted all the time. But I do things different because over the past couple years I've been so focused on, like self-help and growth. And I have made progress. And it's been, and a lot of it has just been, it's not been fun or exciting or interesting. It's been by myself, thinking, processing. It's not, I'm like a lot of people say I'm too hard on myself. Some of my friends say that. Hold on. Like I'm too hard on myself. But that's exactly how I have made some progress. Or for example, that's how I've stayed consistent at running for a year. That's how I've stayed consistent at running for a whole year, is I've been very hard on myself internally. And I have not been hard on people externally. The problem is, most people are externally focused. Let me tell this person they're wrong. Let me convince that person. Let me try to help this person understand. Oh, I'm trying to be caring. That's a good thing, right? No. You're putting all your energy outside of yourself towards another person or another thing, and that is not going to help you move forward. And you can only help other people once you've helped yourself. You can only affect change outside of yourself once you've mastered your internal self. And so that's what I'm trying to do. How do I work on my internal self first and build that up? And then maybe someday I can affect external change. But that's been hard because I do the same thing. I want to help other people and do things for other people and get other people to like me and do external things. And it's not natural to focus internally on myself. It's very hard. And a friend was telling me that's when you know you're connecting to God. It's when you're connecting with yourself. If you're focused on distractions and external things, you're not focused on God. You're not focused on your mission, your purpose. You're not focusing on anything that matters if you're focused on politics. And that's kind of the end of the discussion. I'm almost back. One thing that I remember, this just came to me. It's I believe it was Thomas Jefferson or Thomas Edison said that someone was complaining to him about politics, about taxes, that taxes are too high. And he said, if taxes were the only things we had to worry about, we'd be fine. But we are taxed twice as much by our pride and ego, 3 times as much by our laziness. We're taxed by our distractions. I'm just paraphrasing what he said, and for those taxes, we like those are the taxes that matter. Our laziness and our pride and our ego and our weaknesses. If we could work, let's say you could work on those things and overcome those things, how much, think about how much more you could affect change, much more you could accomplish if you're focused on those internal things, But nope, everybody wants to be focused on taxes externally, whether you think taxes are too high or too low, or we need to tax the rich more, or we need to tax people less. It doesn't matter. You're focused on external things. You're focused on things that have no return on investment for you, because you can't change policies by yourself. You can't change the government. You're not going to do anything unless you first focus on yourself for years and build up that internal strength. Then you'll have external strength. Anyway, I'm just ranting, but that was about 3 miles. Whew. That was a good run. See you guys later.